Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hi, I'm Angela. I like anime. So anyway, let's talk about it. So, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. If you read the title, you know what's going on. Right, let's always do my little bit of background information on these. Or should I do update? No. Before I get into my background information, let's just do personal updates. Not too personal though. I'm not trying to start any parasocial relationships. Who am I kidding? Who's forming a parasocial relationship with me? Anyway, moving along. So I'm in the bulk. I'm in the belly of the beast of GCSEs. Actually, it hasn't been too bad. I know, like, I kind of expected it to be more stressful, you know. Like, I thought I'd be living every day like pretty much miserable. It's been alright. It's just been like stressful. It's been stressful, but it hasn't been like the saddening, I'd say. You know, like I've been managing to get through it, and right now it's the half term, which is why I have time to record this episode because this will be my episode for June, I think. Then I would have finished GCSEs by the end of June, so now I can make another episode for August. Because by the time the August episode rolls around, I should be able to film it in August because I don't, you know. But yeah, I have three more weeks left of exams. Like this is a 5-week exam period, which is quite a lot apparently, according to most people. Which it does sound like a lot. But the last 2 weeks, to be fair, I only have 3 exams like either week. Like the past is, so I've done 2 weeks already, and those were like full of exams, like 4 to 5. I think one of them might have had 6 exams, but the week I come back is definitely 6 exams. But to be fair, I am doing 10 GCSEs, but that's, I don't know, that feels pretty standard. But anyway, moving along. What else is going on? Oh yeah, I'll talk about like just general anime news. I watched Bubble. I didn't like it that much. I know Eve did the opening or the song for Bubble, and I don't really like the Eve song that much either. I love Eve. I love their music so much. Like, what's if any Eve fans in the chat, my favorite Eve song personally is Last Dance. I'm not trying to be like I'm cool, I'm edgy, I'm quirky, and that song definitely has like millions of what plays? Yeah, that's what it's called. I was about to say views. I mean, yeah, views for the music video, but yeah, um, that's my favorite Eve song. But that song and the thingy, it wasn't it. It wasn't it for me. I don't know. It's not like I'm trying to be like, oh no, Eve's falling off. No. Their songs are still really good. I like their like art style. Their like music style a lot. But I don't know. Bubble just was boring to put it in like normal words, and I thought it was me, like, cause me and my friend we got all excited because of the animation. It's one of them kind of shows. Like the animation was so good. We got like so excited to like watch it. We like got all like cozied up on the chair, and then we just got so bored. And we were like, "Is this just us being dumb? Are we just not understanding the plot well enough?" Because we ended up like talking through quite a like no, we'd pause and talk for like half an hour during the movie, and then we'd have to be like, "Oh, we should get back to watching it, shouldn't we?" You know? I mean, I don't know. It just seemed a bit. What else has come out? Spy X Family still going strong. Aha, Spy X Family. It's such a good anime. And then also Love is War season 3. It's going on pretty well. There's also a ballet anime that my friend's been telling me to watch, but I haven't really gotten to it yet. I don't know. I think it's done by Mappa because I remember people talking about it because they were like, "Oh, we're not getting a nice movie and Mappa's ballet thing," which is, but apparently it's good. So when I get the time, but this half term, I started watching Nichijou, and I obviously rewatched Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I think for the rest of the half term, I'm just gonna finish Nichijou. It's really funny. It's really good. I thought it was new though because I remember literally seeing the manga in like in like one of the shops in our local town or our local city or whatever. So I was like, oh, that's a new manga, but it's not. It's like the anime came out in 2011. I mean, maybe the volume's still releasing, and I'm kind of going on a tangent that isn't related to Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. But anyway, let me get back into Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. Monthly Girls, right? So if you don't know, I'm gonna do like a little section on what I kind of think about it. Like it's kind of like my recommendation section, I like to call it. Then I'll be like spoilers from here on out. Then I'll just like go through the show and like what I enjoyed, and like I have some points to talk about. But before I do that, let's go onto my research page, which is so Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun aired from July to September in 2014, and there's 12 episodes with an OVA that's technically 6 episodes, but the OVA, like each episode is only like 3 minutes long. If we do our maths, a little bit over 3 minutes, but like if we do our maths, 3 times 6, that's like 18 minutes. So it'll be about 18 minutes or more. So about the like size of like one normal like 23 episode anime or so, right? Um it is created by like all like drawn and written by Izumi Tsubaki, a female manga artist. We love our women making manga. And the studio is called Doga Kobo. And I'm gonna just name off some popular anime that they did. They did My Senpai is Annoying, that aired like last year. I know people like that. I have a funny story about that. I accidentally watched the final episode, thinking it was the first episode, and then when I realized it was the final episode, because I like literally finished, I was like, oh, I'm not going back to watch the first episode now. It's a lost cause. And then there's the Tada Never Falls in Love. Oh, I love that anime. But if I rewatch it now, I'd probably be like, And then finally, a more popular one they did, which I know I haven't seen it yet, but I know a lot of people like it and have seen it, is Kim Kimioto Umaru-chan. Like she like has like I think somebody was telling me about it. It's like she has like a chibi version of herself where she's just like at home and stuff. But then when she goes to high school, she like looks completely different and she wears like this orange, like I don't know what it is, like a onesie. But anyway, that's the point. That's my background information. And Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun used to be on Netflix, right? But it seems to me, not it seems to me, they took it off Netflix. Sometimes I'm really starting to hate Netflix, man, because they take good shows off Netflix, and for what? Like I was literally queuing up to watch it, and I was searching for it, and it wasn't there, and they are aware that people are searching for it still. Took Haikyuu off Netflix. Like, sure, I've seen Haikyuu like 3 or 4 times, but that won't stop me from watching it like a fifth time. So put it back on, because now I have to. Oh, it's so. I do have to see. I do have DVDs though, but I only have DVD of the first season. So anyway, Monthly Nozaki-kun. Let me do my recommendations. I say this is like a really good anime. I don't know about the manga. I haven't read that manga, but I'd say the anime is really good because generally it feels like a I don't want to say commentary because that makes it sound serious, but it just like has a general feeling of like making fun of like common shoujo slash romance like anime tropes, and like turning them and presenting them in a different way that's kind of funny, kind of like in that Love of War way, but Love of War like takes a more, I think, satirical, is that the word for it? Satirical approach maybe, versus Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, I don't know if these are the same words, but feels more like self-aware because he is a manga. If you don't know, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is about this high school second year who is a manga artist, and then he befriends this other second year who's in the art club, who's a girl who has like a crush on him, but he doesn't know that she has a crush on him, and it's like from her perspective. So she's like trying to basically, she's really shy and she's trying to find out ways to like make him know that she likes him. Because in the first episode, which doesn't really spoil it because it's in the first episode, she confesses to him, and he's all like, he just gives her an autograph. He doesn't really understand what she means. So after that, it's just like the rest of the show is just her trying to make him understand what she actually means, right? So it's pretty wholesome in that sense because it's just like, classic misunderstandings. High school. Wait, no, I'm gonna say this. I already have been laughing before I even say it. High school hijinks. I don't know how to feel about that word. I might start using it now because it's kind of funny. High school hijinks, just, just antics. People just getting up to stuff. But yeah, it's got that second year vibe. It's like they aren't first years. No, 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 no. They have people who call them senpai, but they still call other people senpai because they're not third years. Yep. Um, but yeah, overall, I'd say it's pretty good anime. Like they have a good way of, I guess, painting Nozaki is like, I don't really know how to describe it because it is classified in genre as like a shoujo. It's like comedy shoujo. I dubbed it a slice of life really because not much actually happens. Um, Romance. It's also sort of called otaku apparently. Apparently that's a genre because I guess like being like like anime or manga about being a manga or anime like kind of person is like it's kind of like Inception, yeah, like anime mangaception. But yeah, I haven't seen Bakuman though. I think that's also an anime about manga authors, but I have seen Watakoi. And maybe I'll do an episode about that. It's only 24 episodes, and I have some of the manga, and I've read the entire manga, and I love Watakoi. I have to stop going on my rants. On my, I thought to say rangents, but yeah. Yeah, anyway, moving along. So yeah, I'd suggest everybody watch it. Here's a picture of Nozaki. Here's a picture of Chio Sakura. Um, why did I say that? And you know, maybe I'll just put a thing of them together in the same scene. I don't want to do like two separate, whatever. Um, but yeah, and the entire cast is pretty lovable. It's the kind of show that would get you like invested in some of the side characters' relationships more than the main character, because sometimes the main characters' relationships can get like a bit boring. Like so is like romance anime. Like I feel like romance anime, you always have to have that like. I don't think they have it in Girls Nozaki-kun, but like you usually have that trope of like the main one of the main character or the one of the love interest's friends has like a really stable relationship, and like they're basically like either they're like the more dad of the group, or like they give like peak advice because they're just like they're goals, or they don't even give advice, they're just like existing being goals, and they might not necessarily be together, but I'm saying they most likely they are together, but they might not be together. They might, it's just like they're basically together, if that makes sense. Like they're perfect for each other. They always hang out. They always, you know. But anyway, moving along. I'm gonna get into spoilers from this point onwards. I feel like this is gonna be a long episode because I went on a rant right at the beginning about my life and about other anime instead of the one I'm supposed to be talking about. But yeah, into wait, and also it's like the archetype of the clueless guy. If that wasn't clear, and if you're frustrated by that, maybe don't watch it. But anyway, and also I really like the main character's ribbons. They're really cute. But anyway, on to spoilers. Ja, right. So first episode, he kind of states Nozaki's all like nobody really. Chio confesses her love to Nozaki, and Nozaki gives her an autograph, thinking that like, oh, she just wanted an autograph. And then and then they basically he invites her to his house, and then he's like, oh, can you like, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's it. And then he's just like, oh, can you like fill in these backgrounds for me? You know, a bit oblivious. We love a bit of an oblivious type, right? Then Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, what I really enjoy is they like to take, like I said earlier, they like to take like comments, romance tropes, like riding on a bike together, or it being like a rainy scene and one of them's forgotten their umbrella, so they had to share an umbrella, or like I feel like I'm skipping a bunch, or like the classic anime uh summer festival, yeah, and usually fireworks to go with that as well. And then there's also a sleepover scene, and there's like the kind of basically a date scene, like one of the characters who thinks it's a date and the other one doesn't, or like none of them think it's a date. But it basically is a date. But anyway, yeah. And Natsuki just says a bunch of misleading stuff because he's like, "Oh, I've had my eye on you ever since I knew you were part of the art club." And then she's like, "Oh, wow." And then he's like, "No, because you do that really good poster on the bulletin board." And she's just like, you know. It's a lot of that kind of humor. I mean, maybe if that's not for you, I think it was fine. Most of my laughs personally come from the side characters and Nozaki interacting with the side characters. You could say that maybe that Chio is a bit boring depending on how you see it, because she just kind of goes along with like everybody else who seems like very vast in personality. Um, you also have that iconic scene where they're trying to figure out a safe way to do like riding the bike, and they end up getting a tandem bike, and then she's just like, "Oh, this is so uncool." But then she ends up like embracing it and being like, "Oh, let's ride home together." Nozaki. Um, and then you also get one of the first flashbacks to the entrance ceremony scene. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it probably was a really cute scene, but like, I don't know. I don't really like how they flashed back to it that much. Not they didn't flash back to it that much. It was just like, I mean, I get to her that it's like a big deal, and I guess through the entire show, it is kind of just about like Sakura, like fangirling over Nozaki, because like he'll do the like there's like one point towards the end where he's just like where Mikorin is like he's posing for the art club and then she's like, oh, I guess I should suggest a pose, and then the pose she suggests is just Nozaki just drawing manga, you know? And it's like she'll fangirl over like anything Nozaki does, which I mean could make her seem obsessive. But I think it's charming. And that's just me because to be honest, I can't lie. Like I don't think I obsess over real people like that, but fictional people, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, um going on, let's go through the characters. I have like a whole like I don't go about the characters. So I like Mikoshiba or Mikorin because I don't want to say I relate to him because weirdly enough, Mikorin or I don't know, I'm just gonna call him Mikorin because that's what Sakura calls him. Because Mikorin is like he doesn't necessarily have a love interest, which I was looking because the cast is like 4 guys and 3 girls. So if we're going for like heterosexual things, he doesn't really have, and not even really because it's not 8-8. Like if there were 5 guys maybe and 3 girls, then we could have like a thing on the side, you know. But like there's literally just not even a person that exists for him. And I do like sometimes, and again it is a romance, but I kind of wanted him. I want to see him with somebody, but I understand he didn't need to be with somebody. Like not everybody needs to be with somebody, at least not in that point in time. And he didn't seem bothered by it either. Like there wasn't. But then also you could say, well, it would have given him his character more depth if there was a moment in time where he was like, everybody seems to have somebody and I have no one, you know. But Mikorin is like the main character of Nozaki's manga is modeled after Mikorin because he's like what was the personality traits that it was? He's like he kind of gets himself. He's a bit stubborn. Not stubborn. I don't want to describe it. Maybe just like you just need to see it. When you see it, it makes sense. I mean, I'm assuming you have seen it if you've in this point of the thing because spoilers, you know. But yeah, and the only thing you can draw is flowers, which I think is quite cool. Then we have Seiya, the like that's like the she's like this. She's in second year too, and she's friends with Sakura. And the whole plot where she was kind of really good at singing, I kind of liked that because it gave character like something weirdly enough. Like she's kind of the worst, I wrote here. And like just the way she talks to people and she still doesn't realize it, you could say that's a bit unbelievable, but then some people are painfully not self-aware. And to add to that, Mikorin, not to add to that, separately, Mikorin's an ultimate game player and I kind of like how they put how unrealistic he sees a lot of life scenarios because he plays ultimate games. Moving along, you have Kashima, who's the prince of the school. Like she's incredibly pretty, but and a lot of people mistake her for a guy. She's very tall, very tall. I think she's the same height as Mikorin, and I don't know if Mikorin's like. I think he's not called Wakashi. What is he called? Wakamatsu. Yeah, Wakamatsu's like the second tallest. It goes like Nozaki, Wakamatsu, then those two, which means she's really tall. And I'm a little bit of a tall girl myself, but not like I don't think I'm really tall. I think I'm just above average height. I don't want to say how tall I am. I'm sure I. Okay, fine. Nobody cares. I'm like 5'8", which is like average height for like a guy, but it's tall for a girl. And most of my friends are like a lot shorter than me, so it's fine. You know, I used to be like really tall when I was little though, because when I was little, I grew really fast and everyone around me, like including the guys, was like really short. But nowadays, like most of the guys around me have like grown, so I'm not even like tall anymore because not most of them, a lot of them are like either the same height as me or like 6 foot. You know, like they're also tall. My year has like a really a really tall average height, I think, and I'm feeding into that. But anyway, moving along, she's just really cool. But she does always seem to say the wrong thing, which means that Hori senpai has to beat her up. Reese's. Wait, is that copyright? But that's been playing in my head, you know. They're like Reese's Puffs, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. That might be copyright. Oh well, whatever. But yeah, I don't know how much I like the violence gag, like violence equal funny, because that's kind of what Hori Senpai is. But then I do see his character as more interesting throughout the entire show. But his introduction is like equal violent, and he's the president of the drama club. But him being president of the drama club, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to think about this guy? I'm not supposed to think he's like some tough guy, right? But like he keeps beating up Kashima, so like what? Um, I also wrote he's shorter than Kashima. I don't know why I wrote that. And also, if you hear the sound of paper, no, you don't. I'm just turning the page. Then you have the plot arc where like Mikoden just keeps getting himself into stuff. Like literally, he just like keeps talking his way into like random stuff, you know, like digging his own grave with his words. And I can relate to that. Sometimes I just end up talking too much, and it's just like, if I just shut my mouth, I wouldn't be here right now, you know. Um, and then you have a thing where Nozaki, it's not like it's not even like I love guys who cook. It's just men should cook. Period. Sorry, I don't say that often, but not the men should cook. Period. Because like literally, cooking is like an essential part of life. I know people have money. People can like buy food, whatever they want, and do whatever they want. But like, how you exist and not know how to cook your own food that you like to eat, food that tastes good, you know, or like from scratch. And I'm not just talking about. I mean, there are some aspects where like you do things from like half scratch and then like you make the other thing, you know. But like, how are you existing and not cooking? But Nozaki's like really good at cooking, like dazzling. Like he makes amazing food. Anyway, and I like just appreciate that. I mean, I like cooking, I guess, but I guess I did struggle. I don't want to say struggle, but like you know when like if I don't know if you were socialized or grew up as a teenage girl, you know there's like a point in your life where like you're like oh actually I hate everything pink and girly and I despise it and get that away from me. I actually like blue. Yeah, I like blue. And I like red, not pink, red. And I like green and stuff like and I don't listen to anything girly and I don't wear anything girly, you know. Like I had that moment in my life, and that also kind of I'm really into baking. I don't really bake that much anymore. I guess I don't know. I'm not getting into that, but like it also kind of made me question like why I baked. I was like, oh, but that's so feminine. It's not. It's literally just food. You're just making food so you can eat and live. Sorry, so side rant. But yeah, anyway, I got over my whole like I hate pink phase. That's what I like to call it. Because now I like pink. Wow, groundbreaking, shocking. I mean, now I'd wear pink and enjoy pink, and I don't really care that much. And I also still enjoy like blue and all those other quote unquote masculine colors. Uh, anyway, my like clothing style is more like I don't know, preppy. I just like colors in my outfit. I think that's it. I don't really care what the color is as long as there's colors. Anyway, on to Wakamatsu. Seo like targets him. He plays basketball. He used to play basketball with Nozaki before he changed into a manga artist. He's a first year, so he's a kohai to Nozaki. And Seo was kind of in love with him, and he's also kind of in love with Seo. But like Seo was like in love with him first, I'm gonna say, because of the way she like preyed on him and like preyed on him. Sorry, the way she liked to mess with him during basketball. And he like secretly loves her singing, but like hates her. I mean, as the show goes along, he doesn't really hate her anymore. But he's like in love with her singing. I think she's called like singing persona is called like Lord or something. Um, I don't know about this misunderstanding. I kind of wish he would find out something. Hey, I mean, he like turns into like the kind of nervous kind of guy you can like kind of appreciate in the OVA. Like I hadn't seen the OVA until I was rewatching it. And I was like, oh, let me just look at what's going on in the OVA. It was basically like a beach episode, but yeah, it was a beach episode because if you combine all the like 6 episodes, it's like makes up an entire episode. Then we have the date not date where Nozaki and Chio go on like a kind of date, but then he like turns it into like it's supposed to be his rest day from being a manga artist, but like every shop they go into, he's like, this would be good for manga, but if you put this on, I could draw it and it would be really cool. And if I bought this, I could use it to draw, you know, like he just can't escape it. But I don't know, but they don't necessarily paint it in a sad way. They just kind of paint it as in he's like very involved in his hobbies and you can't even like take a break, which you would think is sad, but like he doesn't seem sad by it. Then they meet Mikorin in the figure shop and he's buying Bisho Shonen figures and they're like, what? Um Then moving along, we have the forgetting the umbrella scene, and we have the iconic thing that I feel like a lot of people might have seen if they even if they haven't seen Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. There's two scenes that you might have seen, but that one where he like I don't really know how to describe it, but he puts his blazer on his head. Also, I really like the uniforms. I like anime where they give people blazers, but to be fair, in this anime, the uniforms are quite inconsistent. Like, for example, Hori wears like a blue shirt, like an actual shirt, but then Chio wears like a white shirt and like a blue bow, but then um, Kashima wears like a black jumper, but then Wakamatsu wears like a cream jumper, and their ties are different colors, and some of them have ties, some of them wear bows. Yeah. The only thing that's consistent is like the symbol, like their school, it's like a bee. But yeah, what was that? Oh, umbrella. So yeah, Nozaki puts his blazer on his head and like but still has it in his arms, and then like is all like Chio, get in, and like she's like stood, like he's really tall, so he's like stood, her head is like around his abdomen or something, and then they're like running through the rain like that instead of just like him taking off the jacket and I don't know giving it to Chio or something. Like it's just so, it's quite funny, and they have to like run back into the thingy. I don't know how I'm describing this. I'm assuming if you've gotten to this point and you've already seen it, gosh darn it, I should come up with better content. Oh, sleepover scene. I love that sleepover scene. Sorry, I just love a good sleepover. I haven't had a sleepover in years though. Because of the pandemic, I haven't had like I used to have one at least once a year for my birthday, but because of the pandemic, I haven't had one. And then I have no other reason to have a sleepover because like a couple of my friends can't. They're not allowed to do sleepovers anyway. So I really need to get back into the sleepover like mood. I need to do sleepover, you know? Because I really enjoy them and I really miss them. And I even have like a room now, so because before when I did sleepovers, I'd have to like take everyone downstairs and like, I mean, I might still do that, but I had to take everyone downstairs. Everyone would like sleep on the floor downstairs, like because I only had a bunk bed, so I couldn't like be in my room. But nowadays, if I only had one friend over for a sleepover, we could probably just sleep in my room. But like, there's something about sleeping downstairs, you know, because that's where the TV is. Like my like nobody else is downstairs. It's like ooh. But yeah, and you can talk about anything. The sky's the limit, and I guess that's the excitement with sleepovers. Anything you say there stays there. What happens at a sleepover stays at a sleepover. Then skipping along, Waka and Seo basically have a date. They basically have a date where she's like, "Oh, let's see this movie," but then they have like they do that. So once I've seen the movie, like they both start talking about completely different things. And like, did we watch the same movie? Because Sarah likes looking at all the gory stuff, and Wakamatsu likes looking at all the like emotional stuff and like the characters and how they felt and the like meaningful lines. Da da da. Then during the sleepover, they talk about the type, and Wakamatsu's are like I like a pure heart because he's kind of like I hate using this term, but, you know, golden retriever boy, like it just wants the best. And Hori says something about how he likes girls with nice legs, and Kashima's tall and she has nice legs. Um, but yeah, moving along. Oh, the most frustrating final episode. I think we all, if you've seen it, we all know the episode I'm talking about. This final, it's like literally, I've forgotten everything else about this anime pretty much, besides from the last episode. And even the last episode was like in and out of my like foggy memory. Like rewatching it wasn't like deja vu. It's just nostalgic, but also nostalgic for the anger I felt. Not not nostalgic. I was angry. I'm not angry. I was annoyed. But yeah, final episode. It's like a summer festival, so setting it up. Chio wears a yukata. The other two girls don't. The other like the guys literally show up in their uniform. I think besides from Hori, who's in like just normal casual wear. Um, Wakamatsu sees Zeo with Kashima, and Kashima's like dressed like a guy. Well, not dressed like a guy. Kashima's just like it just looks like he like she could be a guy. Anyway, so then Wakamatsu sees that and is like, "Oh my gosh, is that Seo's boyfriend? No, no!" And he's like trying to be like, "Oh, why am I so bothered by the classic anime?" You know. Anyway, moving along. So he basically thinks that she's dating Kashima. Then everybody splits up and kind of meets their significant other. Mikoden's just like, yeah, I think I forgot what it's called, but he's like by the like gacha machine thingies, I think, where you like put in like a coin and you get like a capsule, and then yeah, that entire scene. But basically, Nozaki meets Sakura, and then they're all like, and Nozaki's all like, "Oh, should we go somewhere higher up so I can take photos of the thing?" And then they go higher up, and then they're on top of like he's like sat on top of the like jungle gym or something, and then takes a bunch of photos, and he's like, "Oh, Sakura, do you want to come up here?" And then she's like, "I can't," and then yukata, and then he like picks her up, like in her flashback, to the flipping open ceremony scene, and we get like a flashback in the final episode to what actually happened that day, and how she, in her eyes, he saved her, and like even though he looked like quite a scary person, he was still really nice the first day they met. Yada yada yada. And then they're like, now they're both sat on top of the jungle gym, and fireworks, boom, classic anime, classic. But but the most frustrating thing, right? So she's like kind of just remembering and like talking about all the stuff that's happened in the show, being like, from that first day, I got to talk to Nozaki-kun, I became friends with Nozaki-kun, and then out loud, like the fireworks are going like really mad, so they have to like shout if they want to be heard. So like out loud, but like not very loud, because the fireworks muffle her. She's like, I love you, basically. And then she's looking at Nozaki-kun, like looks at her, and she's looking at Nozaki-kun, and in her thoughts, she's like, oh no. Then some time goes by, and then it's like actually then they kind of make it seem as if he didn't hear her, because then they switch scenes to like different characters in the show, but then they come back to the scene and he did hear her, but he misunderstood her again at the beginning, and he says, "Oh, I love you." Oh, I know. He says like, "I love something," and then like there's a thing where she's like, "Oh my gosh, does he love me too?" And then it's like, I love the fireworks. Oh my gosh, the way I could tell it 12 episodes for it just to lead up to that, and they're in this secluded area. It was perfect. Oh yeah, and the way he like the way he leaned in to tell her that he loved the fireworks was literally either one, perfect kissing material, like kissing scene material, or two, the pin two, just perfect saying like confession material. And also earlier in this like same episode, the way he like ate her apple, her candied apple, like candied apple. Caramel? No, it's not caramel, but candied apple. Yeah, it's like all of this was leading up. Perfect ending scene, and I get it. None of it really led up to that point. Like all the stuff that happened in the anime previously didn't really lead up to like a kiss scene or maybe a confession, but not a kiss scene. You know? But like still, my heart. You know? And I understand that now, as a matured adult. It's been like a year or two. Me watching a bunch of anime, it's just like I guess I get why they didn't do that, but like they could have. I feel like they should have could have and should have like made like either other characters in the show like drop hints to him, and there almost were. This is she when they had the sleepover scene. Like the other two, like the guys were gonna be like, "Oh, what do you think about Sakura?" And he fell asleep. I know they did that on purpose, but it hurt. I kind of like the clueless trope, but then if you're gonna be clueless, I don't know how it feels like a main love interest or the main character, because usually if it's clueless, it's like a side character. And my perfect example of this is not even like a side; it's just not a pretty prevalent character, but it is a side character. It's like Yami, from Black Clover, and what is she called? Charlotte? Yeah, I think she's called Charlotte. But yeah, the captain of the Blue Roses and the captain of the Black Bulls, those two. Love their dynamic. Every time I was watching Black Clover, I was waiting for them to come on screen. I was like, I mean, because I love getting excited for my ships, even though it's canon. So it's not really a ship, but because like it's basically canon, you know. But I was still excited to see them anytime they were on screen, you know, even though Yami was like absolutely clueless. And you can say arguably, it was 170 episodes, and I'm pretty sure she's liked him from the very beginning, right? 170 episodes, and he still hasn't gotten like caught on. So maybe I'm being a hypocrite because Black Clover was longer, but there were other things going on in Black Clover. They weren't the main characters, and this is why I was saying like it's worse if they're the main characters, because if they're the main characters, it's more frustrating than if they're like side characters. And the fact that they're side characters, one, doesn't mean that this aspect is that important, and two, because Black Clover is packed with so much action and other stuff going on and other plots, it doesn't really matter that much that like they aren't like he isn't really understanding her feelings, you know what I mean? but I do get it can be annoying. As I say, I did like the whole different personality type. I personally like Mikorin and Wakamatsu like the most. Out of I don't know. You could say arguably Chio's boring. Kashima, you could say is like the other two are just kind of annoying, but in different ways. The Alpha podcast and like the way they like talk about women, like and they like pretend they like women, but then they just hate on women. I felt that's so funny. Guys, I swear I'm not an alpha podcast. I also wrote down here that the animation's a bit basic, but the story's pretty good. In terms of like little bits of content. I don't know how this would fare if I was like fair if I was like watching this weekly. I don't know if I'd dislike it more, if I'd like it more. Because I feel like that I have to factor that in if I'm talking about like an anime. Like some things, it's like I watched it weekly, so I have more of an emotional attachment to it. It's like here's my controversial opinion. The Promised Neverland season 2. It was one of I think it was the first anime that I watched weekly because like I didn't know anime aired weekly at this point in time. But it was the first anime I started to watch weekly, and I enjoyed it personally. I know it's really bad. It's really bad. I know it differs from the manga a lot, making it really bad. And I could also tell with some issues with like kind of like with pacing and just like how the story moved that it was a bit. But I think I enjoyed. Shout out, not even shout out. Who am I shouting out? I enjoyed the opening and I liked the characters and I liked the animation. But the opening, I didn't realize this. The opening, should I try and find him? Because basically the opening's with this person I'm trying to find. And I just got into one of his other songs. I think it's one of his most popular songs, which probably catapulted him into like being like into fame. Okay. Kiro Akiyama, he made the opening of Promised Neverland Season 2 called Identity, and really good, such a banger. But recently I've been getting into his song Caffeine, which I think is one of his most popular, if not the most popular song, if I go to artist. Yeah, it's his most popular song. After Identity, with 12 million streams on Spotify, and then Identity has 10 million streams on Spotify. But yeah, I was getting into Caffeine, and I was like, oh my gosh, this voice feels familiar, but I didn't know from where. But it turns out it's from the person who made the Promised Neverland Season 2 opening. Really good song, recommend it. But anyway, back to Promised Neverland. If I watch something weekly, I feel like I enjoy it more. Because like it's like I've been waiting all week for this thing, and even if it's bad, or even if it's like filler, I'll still be like, oh, that was such a good episode. I've been waiting all week because filler is what is like, because even in filler I still get to see my favorite characters, but yeah, moving along. I don't know if I'd enjoy this that much if I was watching it weekly, but here we are. Generally they have that general anime trope of the main characters have colored hair and everybody else has like brownish hair. I mean, the exception of like Nozaki, he has like black hair, and then maybe Seo, like if her hair's what color you call it, maybe brown, but if you're calling it brown, then you could say that's natural. So. Or like a sort of lightish blondie brown kind of color. And you can also say that there are too many misunderstandings in the show, because it's like every single like episode there's at least a good misunderstanding, and it doesn't necessarily get solved. I mean, smaller ones, I don't know. No, there are a lot of unsolved ones. I mean, maybe in the manga, like I said, a lot of these misunderstandings would get solved, so it would be a little more satisfying. Because the anime only ran for one season, and I doubt there's going to be a season 2. How many years has it been? 6 plus 2, it's been 8 years. So, no hopes of a season 2, and I'm okay with that. But there are some things I'm not okay with that aren't getting, like, another season. And, I know there's nothing you can really do about it if an anime, well, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you're just going to have to suck it up and read the manga, you know? But yeah, generally, I enjoyed Girls Nozaki-kun, and me and my friend, like, it's one of the first anime we like bonded over, so I do have a strong, again, emotional connection to this anime, because it's like I watched it on my own, she watched it on her own, and then like when we were becoming friends, when we started talking about anime, this was like one of the first anime we started talking about, and we were like, oh god, that's such a good anime, I love it, I'm not trying to dog on it. It sounds like I absolutely hate this, like, not I hate it, it sounds like I don't like it as much as I did. But I think the OVA was quite fun because the OVA, which I didn't watch the first time I watched it, is like a beach episode. So you have those classic tropes of like it's like a school trip, so it's like a drama club trip. Then you have like swimsuit shopping. Then no, like Nozaki's gonna go, so Sakura's gonna go, so she has to find an even better swimsuit. Then Nozaki doesn't even compliment her on her swimsuit. He compliments her on her inner tube, again furthering like just, I don't want to say animosity you have towards Nozaki, but gosh darn it, like actually seriously what? Anyway, moving along. Then we have the most baseline. I'm sorry, I had to like stop. I had to pause everything, rewatch it 3 times, then text my friend about this scene. And she doesn't even watch anime. I just like venting to her and talking to her about random stuff. But right. Anyway, like how do I describe this scene? Basically, so you could say low-key it's a not a commentary. Again, it sounds serious, but you could say it's like a thing on sexual like harassment. But anyway, oh yeah, it's trigger warning for sexual harassment. I guess. Not I guess. Yeah. Like basically Wakamatsu's just chilling. He's just like, he's an athlete, right? Like I said before, he like does basketball, right? So he has like muscles, right? So he's just chilling without the shirt on and his swimwear, da da da. And these girls come up to him and they start like touching him up. Like anyway, they start touching him up and being like, wow, you have such nice muscles. Wow, you really are an athlete, right? And they're also like thrusting their chest onto like his arms and stuff, and he's like, like he's really uncomfortable, and he's like, can you like move your chest? Can you like not do that? So then Seo walks by, and then he like hides behind her, and Seo evidently has like quite big boobs or something. And one of the girls who was like touching him up before was all like, oh, so you like them big, huh? And then the most line in the show, quoting word for word because I had to write this down. What are you talking about? Their just lips are fat, aren't they? The way I was screaming, the way I had to rewatch over and over again. The first time I ever like heard an anime character just like literally just refer to them as what they are and not sexualize them, you know? It was just nice, and I guess this is what it feels like. Not what it feels like written by women, you know what I mean? Because like you don't need to sexualize every single part of a woman's body. They're just existing, man. Like, and they don't exist for male pleasure. And also, men shouldn't have to be touched up when they don't want to, because I hate using that, but if the roles are reversed, people would think I was weird, because it is weird. Why are you touching other people without their permission, or when they're clearly uncomfortable, but you keep doing it anyway? Also, moving on, Seo was vile. She removed the strings from 3 of the guys' trunks and they got washed away. But I don't go to the beach that much, so is that really a thing? Like, to get your swimsuit like washed away? Like, does that really happen? I couldn't really believe it, but like it was in the anime. Surely it had to be a thing, but maybe it is. Maybe that's a fear people go through. I do want to go to the beach more. I do enjoy going to the beach. It's just like most times if you want to go, you have to drive, and my mom doesn't really like driving far. Also, another bit of information. One of the Girls Nozaki-kun is a 4-panel manga, or yonkon manga, which is just like has 4 panels on I think each page, and they can be like vertical or horizontal, and uses a gag in comic strips. That sounded really dead, but sorry, that was really loud. I probably peaked the mic. But yeah, I was also gonna make this episode about something else. I was gonna make it about this movie I watched, but I don't know if I'm gonna use it because I didn't really like the movie, and I don't want to spend. I feel like it'll like the amount of bad things I'll have to say about it will only really consist of like 10-20 minutes maybe. Actually, I could probably talk about it for longer. I just don't want to talk about something I don't like for that long. Because positive vibes, guys. I don't, you know, and maybe what's their favorite anime movie. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed making it. Like, I didn't think I'd have time to make another episode in half term, and maybe I'll even have time to make another one. But regardless, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.